Welcome to Coming to New England. My name is Ted De La Garza, and my guest today is my father. Thank you for being here. What's your full name?
Rene De La Garza.
And why did your parents select this name for you?
My mother, her name is Isabel, and she liked French names, so I'm Rene, and my older sister is Yvonne, and somehow my younger sister got caught up with Adam and Eve because she's Eva. So that's how my name came about.
Right. When and where were you born?
I was born in Delano, California, and that was in March 29th of 1952.
How'd your family come to live there?
By a very kind of circuitous route. My dad had been finished up with the Navy, and he and my mother moved to Chicago. And my grandfather, William De La Garza, kind of talked my father into coming to California with the idea that there was work there for him. And it turned out to be a ruse because he basically just wanted my father and his new wife nearby.
What's your earliest childhood memory?
Getting up on Christmas morning and riding my tricycle around the area where we lived and being very excited that it was Christmas.
So what was school like for you as a child?
Oh, I enjoyed school very much, especially elementary school. We had a nice playground and we played tetherball and most of the games that kids play at recess, and those are fond memories. And the weather was always terrific in California because it's always warm.
Where'd you go for school?
I'm sorry?
Where'd you go for school? For college or high school?
Oh, for high school, my freshman year I was at Delano High School, and then I moved to Upper Michigan, and I lived in Marquette, Michigan for a while. And it was a huge change in weather because California, in the summertime it'd get up to about 110 degrees. And when I moved to Michigan, it snowed there from the end of September till the beginning of May. So every day was cold and there was a lot of snow. So it was a huge shock in terms of weather.
Were you ever mentioned in a newspaper?
Yeah, I think in the Delano paper when I was in high school, I won a couple of music awards. And that was when I was about 15, I guess.
Okay. Were there any stories that have come down to you from your parents or grandparents?
Yeah, let me think about that for a second. I guess not so much from my grandparents as from my sister did some investigating into our family history, and she found that my great-grandmother was Indian, and she lived on a finca, I guess is the word that they use. It's like a farm, and it was owned by a Spanish family. This was in Mexico, and the youngest son of the family fell in love with her. And because of her not being of Spanish blood, her parents didn't want her to marry. They didn't want their son to marry her, but he did it anyway. And he was somewhat exorcised by the family. And they were quite wealthy, but he had to leave. So that was significant, I think.
Oh, for sure. When and how did you meet your spouse?
I was singing with the Opera Company of Boston with Sarah Caldwell, and I was doing small roles. This was just after I'd graduated from the conservatory in Boston, and I was on stage, and I remember seeing her. She worked on costumes, and that's how I met her.
Okay. What was it like when you proposed?
That's a really good question because I read that the other day and I was thinking, what was it like? Because I don't really remember that clearly because we've been married 34 years, so that was a while ago. But if memory serves me right, I think we went out to a restaurant in the village, and that's when I proposed, and it was a great moment.
Yeah. What memory stands out the most from your wedding day?
I think just having all of our families together and everyone was in a really joyous mood, and that sticks with me.
Right. What do you believe is the key to a successful marriage?
That's an easy question. I think the key is to never stop courting your wife.
When did you choose? Why did you choose your children's names?
Oh, that's a good question. I liked the name, well, Theodore, I don't know if, I think just because I can't think of any relatives that have that name. I just always liked it, and so did Carrie. And Julian's name, my great-grandfather was named Juliano, so I thought that was an appropriate name for him.
Okay. Of all the things you learned from your parents, what do you feel is the most valuable?
Well, I guess first, honesty and working hard work.
Right. What accomplishments are you the most proud of?
I guess in terms of my career, probably it would be singing the role of Rigoletto, because it's the most demanding in the whole opera repertoire. So I think that accomplishment stands out.
All right. What's the one thing you most want people to remember about you?
I think that I was a good teacher, and I was fair as a teacher, and that I brought a lot of energy to my teaching.
How is the world today different from what it was like when you were a child?
Well, it's a lot more complicated, and it's unfortunate that it is. I think truthfulness has kind of gone by the wayside, and that's sad.
What world events had the most impact on you growing up?
I think the falling of the East Wall in East and West Germany, that was significant, and also the breaking up of the USSR.
Did any of them personally affect your family?
Not really, no.
Okay. How would you define the American dream?
The American dream, that's a very good question. I think for the number of immigrants that come to this country, the possibility to become successful or make a success of your life is very significant.
All right. Well, it's been my pleasure to interview you today, Dad. Thanks for being here. And this is Ted De La Garza, and you have been watching Coming to New England.